Alright, time for another video. I've got to talk about Norris after this American Grand Prix. Or the circuit of the America's Grand Prix. I don't know what do we call it really. It must be the de facto American Grand Prix. The other ones would be Vegas and Miami. But anyway, it's not even important. Norris. There was an energy going into this Grand Prix. There was a vibe about the play. There was a tension in the air. Norris came in looking real determined. Well, at least from what I could see with whatever footage I got to see from the grid with whatever I bothered to watch. He looked real determined on the grid. When he was getting what is that spray? I think that he's getting on his suit over there. Who knows? But he looked real determined, real focused. I thought for a second, oh, hang on, he might just grab the win here because he had to win. He had to win. As far as I can see it, this was the last time for him to certify himself as a real title challenger. And he didn't pass the test. He had to pass the test by winning, even if he didn't get the 5-second penalty and finished ahead of Maximilian Verstappen. That wouldn't have been enough. That wouldn't have been enough to certify himself. So he had to certify himself by winning here. And he lost the race. He lost the race either on Friday by missing the setup, or McLaren collectively missed the setup, but that's their own fault, quite frankly. And Norris is part of that. So that's either when he lost the race or he lost the race, and McLaren also lost the race. On the Sunday, with one, their strategy, and two, Norris just not having the minerals. He just didn't have the minerals. Turn one. I mean, it would be easy to give Verstappen flack for turn one, but no. It was a good move. This was a good move, man. It's not that there's no permittance for the move to go wrong or something, but it was a good move. The move was on. And on first view, I thought to myself, whoa, there was space there, excuse me? See the onboard, the track opens up, you see the camera, the track opens up over there as you get to the apex of the corner. So there was room. Norris didn't cover it. Got the braking wrong, what have you. Norris says he had to avoid an accident. Maybe that's the case. It should have probably let the accident happen. That would have been spicy. That would have been real spicy. But really, he got outdriven there. He got outdriven. It is what it is. Verstappen made a sincere attempt to make the corner, as far as I can see. Okay, ran out of room. Shit happens. Shit happens. Not the worst. Not the worst he's done. It was a good move. Really. Shouldn't even classify as any of the quote-unquote worst. It was a good move. Norris wasn't ready for it. He couldn't even fathom it. He really couldn't fathom it. So, he just got outdriven there, and that's really when he lost the race. From his, from what he was able to affect, that's when he lost the race. And McLaren's strategy is suspect as well, but, well, this is what McLaren are doing. They're very confused with their strategy sometimes. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I was pondering watching the Grand Prix, why are they staying out so long? This is not the way to run this Grand Prix. Or if you have the fastest car, just put the tires on and keep the pace going. But whatever. McLaren did what they did, and they got the result they did. I'll address the overtake in a different video. I suppose. I'll address the overtake in a different video, but no, Norris has not certified. He's not been able to certify himself. He's not been able to get on the champion's path. Verstappen keeps him off it. A lot of people saying the McLaren car is the best car. Norris should be able to get himself onto the champion's path now. The papaya rules have been called off, or have they been reinstated? Who knows how that works, really? But Piastri is now the rear gunner for the rest of the season. He's probably lost some motivation for the time, well, for some time. Could be one Grand Prix, could be two Grand Prix, could be three. You know, he's lost some motivation for some time. Piastri couldn't rescue the team by finding some sort of setup panacea with his work. He's not really interested. Well, he wasn't particularly interested at code. It didn't look interested. Didn't look on it. Something was off with him. Who knows? Who knows? I'm just speculating on him losing his motivation after this papaya rules. Or whatever development has happened with the papaya rules, because who knows how it works, really. No doubt people are going to point me to an article. I don't really care what the article says. And here's another thing. McLaren have had to forego their key philosophy to make a title challenge for Norris. This is why it's just not. It's not the season for him. It's not the season. McLaren, if McLaren do have two world-class drivers, then McLaren, as history show, allow iron to sharpen iron. It's like Southern Hemisphere rugby. New Zealand and South Africa always playing against each other. The iron sharpens the iron. Why are these teams so difficult for other teams to face? Because these teams face each other and they take it very seriously. Because it's the best test. Or how good are we at the rugby? Well, we're going to find out. Let's see how we do against New Zealand. New Zealand is the opposite. Oh, let's see how we do against the South Africans. And if you win, you're probably in good spec. You can probably beat most teams. Ireland are now entering this realm. We'll see how long they stay on. We'll see. Well, they go on and off with the generations, but we'll see what happens with them. I suppose most of the British Isles go on and off with the generations, but we'll see what happens with all of them. But the iron sharpens the iron. Senna, Prost, the great Sir Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso. I would say Hackett and Coulthard. Coulthard wasn't sharp enough. Kovalainen also not sharp enough. The great Sir Lewis Hamilton and Jenson Button. The iron always sharpens the iron at McLaren. I'm sure some people would have other driver combinations to point to further back in history. I hit Kimi Räikkönen and Montoya. That was a heck of a combo. Hey, that was a heck of a driver pairing, I tell you what. But Anna Piastri has to be called off. I've not seen the second driver at McLaren, well, the other driver at McLaren, have to be called off because they're too good. I've not seen that. And that's bad tidings for Norris. He would be in better spec. Well, let's assume McLaren maintain their pace going into next season. He would be in better spec to challenge for championship next season if Piastri was given the full beans. Now, of course, people will say that papaya rules have been hosted since Baku or something, and Piastri still won. I'm not quite a believer of that. I think it just got holstered during the second break. But either way, during the second month-long break, why FOM flexing at the second month-long because they want to put Grand Prix in there. They want you to want the 27 Grand Prix calendar, whatever they have in mind. They want you to want that. That's why they did that. That's why they did all of that. Forget about the fluff. They're gonna put out some fluff about the teams needing a second break because of the schedule or what have you. That's a fluff thing. That's a fluff thing. We already know the teams will run 2 mechanics teams if they have to. That's a fluff piece. So so they want you to want the 27 Grand Prix calendar. Who knows, maybe they could push in 28 if they really tried. But they want you to want it. Because that's how they're going to actually get it instated. And whew, the amount of cash they'll make, who knows? Who knows? But anyway. Norris, this was his chance to certify himself and get his foot on the champion's path, the road to becoming champion. This was, as far as I'm concerned, his last chance. Now, as always, it's F1. Wild and wacky things might happen. You know, the Red Bulls might blow up at the it doesn't have to be both Red Bulls. Just has to be Verstappen. Verstappen his engine might blow up at the next Grand Prix, or there's some first lap crash that takes out a bunch of cars that would be racing against Norris or something, and he collects an easy win and just clean points grab. It could happen. Anything could happen. But what's certain right now, as things stand, is that Norris, he cannot win championship. If they want to peddle that narrative in the media because they got to sell tickets, it is what it is. But he can't win championship. They got to do hijinks specifically to get him over if they're going to have him win a championship. They're already doing a lot of hijinks this season, by the way. Hey, they've done a lot. But they're going to have to do some things to specifically put Norris over if he's going to win a championship this season. I assume he will be ready organically and authentically next season or the season after, assuming the McLaren car is the business. But he'll have to race against Piastri anyway, at the very least. So, whatever happens here with Norris is what happens. Perhaps some drama happens and he forces Piastri out the team somehow. Who knows? Who knows? Anything could happen. But anyway, that should be the video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Peace.